Siddhartha Gautama was the first Buddha or enlightened one. He lived around 4th century BC in modern-day Nepal. Having been raised as a sheltered prince, young Siddhartha never knew of the world outside of the bubble his father had manufactured for him. By his 20s, Siddhartha had little to no knowledge about the intricacies of the world outside his palace walls. He ventured out eventually and learned of them one by one: old age, diseases, poverty, and suffering. Since witnessing these realities, Siddhartha gave up the comfortable life he had. Meditating until he found the answers to all of the sufferings that he witnessed. Buddhism was thought to have entered Southeast Asia via trade with India and China starting in the 1st century. One of the earliest accounts of the religion in Southeast Asia tells of a mission sent by Emperor Ashoka. It was meant to spread Theravada Buddhism to modern-day Burma at around 250 BCE. Two of the major forms of Buddhism practiced in Southeast Asia include Theravada and Mahayana. Theravada Buddhism spread from India to Sri Lanka, then into Southeast Asia through the aforementioned Emperor Ashoka. It gained support in the areas of present-day Burma, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and southern Vietnam. Mahayana Buddhism, on the other hand, spread in both China and India during the 1st and 2nd century before finding its way into Southeast Asia through trade. China and India were influential in the entry of Buddhism into Southeast Asia. Srivijaya, a maritime empire whose seat was in modern-day Palembang in Sumatra, Indonesia, adopted Mahayana Buddhism. The Sailendras, or Shailendra, were influential in this happening. They ruled from around 750 to 850. One of its famous legacies is the Borobudur Temple. Being merchants and traders, one of the externalities brought about by their expansion of trade was religion, Buddhism being one of them. The Philippines, despite the lack of unity during pre-colonial period, still had contacts with these maritime traders. The Philippines' archaeological finds include many ancient gold artifacts. Most of them have been dated to belong to the 9th century iconography of the Srivijaya Empire. The artifacts' distinct features point to their production in the islands.
Today, Buddhism is alive and well in society, albeit sometimes not in its original intended purposes. The Filipino-Chinese are today's prominent practitioners of Buddhism in the Philippines. Although their religion originated in India, their religion is mostly associated with the Chinese community in the country. Plenty of temples intended to spread the word on Buddhism can be found around Manila and other Philippine provinces. The concept of karma is also used and embedded in everyday Filipino lifestyle. Buddhism refutes this and claims to have answers to break this cycle. Some of the popular Buddhist temples in the Philippines include Fo Guangshan Mabuhay Temple, Sengguan Temple, Manila Kadampa Buddhist Center, Buddhist Temple of Dharma Enlightenment, Kuan Yin Buddhist Temple, Ocean Sky Chan Monastery, Thousand Buddha Temple, Manila Po An Temple, Lonwa Temple in Davao, Biara Van Fat. As further proof of the religion's assimilation into Philippine society, institutions of learning have been established since the mid-20th century, teaching Buddhist values and learning. Some of them include Guangmin College, Philippine Buddha Care Academy, Manila Kadampa Buddhist Center. Institutions of learnings, such as the ones mentioned, aim to further educate Filipinos about Buddhism and its core teachings, while also being a center of academic excellence that can help even those who are not Buddhists.
The imprint that Buddhism has in Filipino society, specifically here in Manila, is subtle at first glance. One can see them embedded in Filipino traditions and oftentimes masked and entirely assimilated already in our practices. Even in the temples mentioned earlier, it can be overlooked if one is not looking for them specifically. Such is the way Buddhism is being practiced in a predominantly Christian nation. At best, Buddhism's influence is indirect, given to our ancestors via Malaysia or Indonesia, where it was widely practiced before its Islamization. Subtle influences can also be found in our language, where certain Sanskrit terms related to Buddhism have been incorporated. These include buddhi or conscience, dukha or sufferer, guru or teacher, and sampalataya or faith. The wave of Easternization that we've experienced for the past few decades have contributed in Buddhism gaining mainstream popularity in Metro Manila. June Miranda, lay teacher at the Manila Kadampa Buddhist Center, tells of the center's beginnings when a small group of Filipinos actively sought a Buddhist tradition they could subscribe to. Most of them used their own resources to do their research and even attended classes abroad for further enlightenment. Through these excursions, they were able to meet various monks, including Ken Tonglam, a teacher in Taiwan. Through these contacts, they were able to bring these teachers to the country to start a Buddhist center at home. From there, its student population grew and up to today continues to attract Filipinos from different backgrounds to study its Buddhist traditions. There are other stories of how family traditions were influenced heavily by Buddhist practices. The openness of Filipinos to Buddhist practices speaks of our receptiveness and tolerance as a nation towards the practices of our foreign neighbors. It also shows how we're able to adapt and make these foreign practices uniquely Filipino.